You're listening to Ask When, the podcast. Folks from all walks of life talk about their daily hustle and bustle, living and celebrating life, sharing tips on becoming champions, especially for those who are muscling mental and physical disabilities. Ask When, the podcast, with your host who has mustered over 30 years living with cerebral palsy and going strong. Author and cerebral palsy advocate Wynn Charles. Ask When, the podcast starts right now.
Welcome to Ask When, everyone. And today I have Jimmy with me. And Jimmy nicely reminded me of that I have new baseline questions, you guys, for everyone that's been so sick of listening to my old baseline questions that I have a new baseline questions that Jimmy proceeded to answer. So basically how this is going to work, you guys, is I'm going to flip over to my email because granted I don't have all the new baseline questions memorized yet, but I'm going to let Jimmy take it away while I flip over to my email, and we'll see what this natural conversation brings out in the best of us. And of course, Jimmy is in one of my favorite spots on the planet, aka Orlando, aka the Tampa area. And so that is where I went before I got into lockdown. So aka Podcast Conference. And I'm so thankful I did that. And so without further ado, I'm going to let Jimmy take it away and explain more about what he does. And then we're just going to have a natural conversation, you guys, like we always do.
Well, thank you for inviting me on your show today. Really thank you for carving out this time for me. I am in the Tampa, Orlando area, and a lot of people, they think that they're really close. They are 60 miles apart, and the running joke around here is Orlando is an hour away from Orlando, and Tampa is an hour away from Tampa. I mean, it's just
yes, because of traffic.
It's ridiculous.
Oh my goodness, it's nuts. It's nuts. No, I flew down before Podcast. I got the land. I was lucky enough to go to the beach in October before I flew back down there in March to go to Podfest. And the person who was traveling with me was also an Orlando native, and she goes, "Wynn, you will not believe when I say the words traffic. When I say the words traffic, you will not believe me." And I'm like, okay, that was a new experience. And she happened to be my aide at the time, and so she worked with me, and she goes, "We complain about Aspen traffic. You won't ever take traffic for granted again." And no, since I've been down there twice now, I've never taken traffic for granted again, because Orlando and Tampa, not fun when you are dealing with traffic. And now with social distancing, I think it's a little bit better, but when I was down there, not so much.
Absolutely. My wife and I drove from Tampa to St. Pete, which is it should be 10 miles, so it should be 10 minutes. Normally, it's between 30 minutes to an hour. Again, everything's an hour away from itself. And it did take us only 10 minutes to get up. We had to do to go last night. Our restaurants are under a to go protocol, but our friends' family had opened a restaurant. We wanted to support them, especially during this troubled time, because who knows when we're going to get out of this? Who knows when they're going to be able to make money again? So we definitely wanted to get in on the ground floor of that operation. And the reason why I breathed so heavily earlier when you were talking about Aspen, Colorado traffic, and just appreciating kind of what you have. Like, I'm from DC, so I should be the most patient person in traffic, and Tampa just.
Yes, yes, and that's why I've learned in any conference setting, you guys, in any conference setting, you should always stay on premises. And I learned that the hard way this time around going to Orlando to Podcast. I've learned that the hard way. Now, if all things go according to plan, I am definitely coming back next year. And as a VIP, I am staying on premises. I did get my VIP ticket, so we don't have to worry about traffic on going back and forth, but we do have to worry about traffic coming from the airport, which was a interesting experience in itself. Hey, construction? Ay, but enough of my Orlando Tampa experience. But as I said, and Jimmy's right, in all this, support local businesses best you can during this economic epidemic and health crisis, because God knows they need the support.
To expand on that, a lot of people have been saying, since you can't go, since you can't sit, even if you don't want the food at the time, just to buy a gift certificate, just to get them through it, because who knows?
Yeah. So, okay, you guys, here are all the new baseline questions. Jimmy, describe your average day and morning and evening routines.
Should this be before the pandemic or during it? I'll do what I used to do. Because it's pretty much the same. It's just the locations are.
Yeah, just the location's a little bit different. Do what you used to do, and remember, you guys, we're all working from home, including me now.
So, so that's change number one. So I would get up. The guy who got me the job also happens to live in my apartment, so he would pick me up and we would go to work, and I would come home and I would take a nap, and then I would have dinner with my wife. We'd go to work out, and then we'd just hang out for the night. And so the changes now, like the day that rhythm is still the same, but now I don't have to get picked up to go to work because I'm working from home. I just walk across my apartment to my home office, and then I don't have to go to the gym. I used to walk to the gym because it's just a mile up the road. Now I just walk to a different room in my apartment, and I work out in my apartment. And actually, since I'm not getting up as early as I used to because of the commute, I don't have to nap anymore. So I've actually saved. This pandemic is saving me time.
Yes. This pandemic is actually saving me time. I mean, I for those of you that don't know, my room is right next door to my office. So and I've had this office for years, and so I should probably take a picture of it so you guys see my podcast recording studio. But it's saved us time. This pandemic is saved us time because we don't have to do. And now, granted, I was used to a 5-minute commute to work. 5 minutes on a good day, 15 minutes on a bad day, and so. But I hated my commute. I also didn't like my job, and that's why I got rid of it. But this pandemic has saved us time, and it's saved a bunch of employers time because they don't have to pay for people coming in and out of the office.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they don't have to pay for people coming in and out of the office, and I think it's going to change how we see the workforce and environment.
I would definitely like to expand on that if we have time.
Yeah.
But I know you wanted to ask more questions.
I would no, go ahead. Expand on that, and then I'll ask my other questions.
So it's basically two prongs, and I think you said them both already. Is now business owners are going to see, like, I don't need to spend all this money on office, on leasing rent, on leasing an office space, and then the workers are going to be like, I could have done this from home the whole time. I didn't need to sit in traffic for a half hour to 3 hours, depending on where you live in the country. Some California people had 3 hour commutes because they can only afford housing 3 hours away, and it's terrible. And this is going to totally change the expectations on both sides. And with that comes the loss of your competitive advantage. Right now, a lot of companies are hiring because they have remote capabilities. Well, if everybody's remote, then you got to find something else to stand out. So in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, depending on the timeline that we're on, we're going to see a total change in the workforce landscape. And it's going to be a really exciting time because there'll be a lot of small business opportunities to set people up for work from home spaces. So I'm looking forward to this future.
Oh, yes, I agree. I can't wait to see the change. There is a silver lining in this world epidemic and in this world economic crash right now, and I can't wait to see what it comes out to be once we get through this all. So, my next question to you is, what is your favorite book, and why is it your favorite book?
So it's so, and I think you have the answer in front of you, and I'm going to say almost word for word what I said last time. It's book number 34 of the Animorphs, and the title I've already forgotten, but on the cover, it's the main character Cassie morphing into what's called a Hork-Bajir species. And the reason why it's one of my favorites is I was starting high school. I didn't realize how much of my world was going to change. So this book series had been going on since I was in the 6th grade, and I'll just go to the library once a month and borrow that book and read it. And during this final change of like, we moved 3 houses, I changed high schools a couple times. Like it was a total disruption in me reading this book series. So I didn't get to read it again until a bus trip from Pittsburgh to Raleigh, where I had acquired the book series online, and finished it out on the bus ride back to Raleigh from Pittsburgh. And it stuck with me because at that point in the series, like you're getting into it's a sci-fi book, you're getting into all these alien species, and they had I think that was the first morph that actually had a human morphing into an alien on the cover. So that meant a lot to me, and it definitely meant a lot to be able to go back and finish it. That was probably one of the peak turning points of that book series. And I say it's dumb, maybe it's cool, but I think it's dumb because it's a good. Go ahead.
It's not dumb. It's cool. It's cool that you have a favorite book from your childhood. And no, I will admit my favorite book right now, my favorite book, and I'm trying to download it again and listen to it again, you guys. And maybe I'll rent it from my local library. And my favorite book is A Walk in the Woods. And that's because, and the reason why I put all my books on audio tape, on books on tape, yes, books on tape, is because when I was driving back and forth to physical therapy with my mom, she always, 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 always used to put audio tapes on for me, and that's how we would get through the drives back and forth to the big hospital and physical therapy. Jeez, audio, there's a way to pass the time, you guys. Put on audio book. And so my favorite audio book is not my own. It's A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson. And so for those of you that haven't listened to it, listen to it. And I need to listen to it again. And so that's why I asked Jimmy what his favorite book is and why it was his favorite book, because books can really pass time, you guys, through this shelter in place or the social isolation thing or whatever you want to call it. Books are the key. And then next week, my girlfriend and I are going to be talking about different learning modalities to keep our brains sharp. So books are a good thing. And so if you had to move, Jimmy, what and could only take 3 things, what would they be and why?
So when I answered this question originally, I remember exactly what I said. I said my wife and our phones, but now I feel like that's a little reductionist. I thought it was romantic, but now I realize I turned my wife into a thing, and I did not mean to objectify her at all. But I love my wife, and I would definitely take my wife and our phones because we would figure it out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, as my aide said to me this morning, we cannot have broken phones during this academic during this coronavirus. We cannot have broken phones. I don't even have a landline that I could use. We're also relying on a cell phone now, you guys. That is not even funny. So I'm not surprised you would take your wife and your phone, and even though you love your wife, you would still take your phone. And so my fourth and final question is, if your close friend had to wrote a book about you, about your life, what would the title be?
It's just all one big joke to him.
And yeah, and I found that very I found that very, very interesting, that if someone else wrote a book about you, what would the title be? And so, you guys, those are the new baseline questions. And I hope that those questions help you understand where we're all coming from. And I know myself, I'm in a hope stick right now. So I'm trying to keep you guys mentally inspired to put one foot in front of the other. And so, Jimmy, do you have any more questions for me?
So you mentioned you like reading, you like audiobooks. What makes Win the happiest? I mentioned we should talk more about keeping and maintaining positivity during these times of crisis. So what are some other things helping you? And would you say just being kind to other people multiplies that?
Just being kind to other people. I mean, I have so many well, now ex teachers slash retired teachers trying to get their feet back underneath them. And because so many schools are closed, I know in the Seattle area, I know that the schools are closed. And so next week, I am on a mission to help all my teacher friends find different modalities of learning, and I may do a YouTube video today on that, and I may figure that one out, but that's my next week's mission. And so I just feel like what makes me the happiest, as as I've been saying to people a lot lately, as long as because I have a pre-existing condition, and if I get the big capital C word, and if I get a small version of pneumonia, aka I could go down quick. So as long as I have my health, my laptop, and I can communicate with the outside world. Thank you, social distancing. And as long as I have my schoolwork to keep my mind sharp, I'm a happy camper. I mean, and a little bit of music, it doesn't kill me. And the podcast space is more and more prevalent right now because people are listening to it just to keep their minds off the news. I mean, it's so um tough because you're like dealing with the capital C word 24/7, and and the reason why I call it the capital C word is because Facebook won't even let you share any articles about the capital C word. They will block you, and I know because they blocked me, but they
It's
took it
happening all over.
down.
It's ridiculous.
So they got everyone. So the reason why I am saying that, and I'm realizing that I'm the hope stick and all this. I am the hope stick, and here I was. I was just doing this as a part time job, and now as of March 13th, 2020, I decided to become a full-time content creator and hopefully make money off of it. And then I am what I realize now is since Podfest in Orlando and Tampa, I am realizing that I am the hope stick for everyone. They not only listen to my interviews, they just listen to me preach positivity. And as a retired educator, I think you guys should one of your lessons is to get kids to listen to audiobooks. And yes, audiobooks is still a form of reading. And I've been talking to educators all across the country on my other podcast, The Amazing Voices of Teachers, which you guys should go check out. And they've been saying, well, it's hard for us because now we have to do this online modality thing. And so it's just difficult. And what I'm realizing is all the podcasters are the hope sticks right now just to close your eyes, just to get away from the big capital C word, because the big capital C word will be with us for months.
I I agree, and I want to say that at a time of just massive losses, I think you're a big win.
No pun intended. No pun intended there.
I
Um,
absolutely intended that pun.
well, maybe pun intended. Well, maybe pun intended there, but yeah, I am. Lynn is the hope stick. Lynn is the voice for the voiceless. I came up with that tagline in 2019 just to get myself back into journalism school, back on track, because I had a big hopeless 2019, and I lost a loved one in 2019. That loved one happened to be my dad. Thank you very much. And I lost my mom in my biological mom in 2010. So they're
My
all
God.
happened with cerebral palsy, and yeah, so fun times. And so now I have my aides, my stepmom, and that's it. I have no family to rely on, no family to speak of. At least they don't
I,
want contact with me. And so, and that's a long story and stuff why. And so I am realizing that I am the voice for the voiceless. I'm the one that came up with that tagline, you guys. No one else came up for the no one else came up with that tagline, but I didn't think the Voiceless tagline was going to be needed after the year my father died. I did not think that that the Voiceless tagline was going to be needed. I didn't think that I was going to be the hope stick, you guys. I thought, oh, I would just carry on my way until what, May 20th when I retired. I didn't realize that I was going to retire um, back the week after I got home from a business trip, aka podcast. And so I am the hope stick, you guys. And a lot of podcasters are the hope stick, you guys. And I just want to give a huge shout out to two other podcasters, that one that I met in person, and one that I saw walking past, and I wish I met in person. Emily Prokop of The Story Behind,
Nice.
and Your Facts on Brain by Moxie, and I forget Moxie's last name, but Your Facts on Brain is that Your Brain on the Facts is her podcast. And so if you need a dose of knowledge away from the interview podcast, you can use those ladies as your dose of knowledge. But also, I think using those ladies, Moxie and Emily, as curriculum-based thing to give your kids a chance to get away from the screens and listen to something that they might not know about. And so Moxie doesn't do it. I know this because she told me this. Moxie doesn't do it as an interview-based show, but she does have people call in, and Emily doesn't do it as a interview-based show, but she does have people call in. So, and Moxie is the nicest person on the planet. I didn't even realize it was her until after we communicated on Facebook. I'm like, oh, that wasn't you saying by that man talking to me. And so that was you. And so if you want to use your facts on Your Facts and Brain, or The Story Behind, um, and let and so maybe that can help you guys teach your kids, especially with The Story Behind. Emily does a great job, and then Moxie, Your Facts on Brain, does another great job. I have Your Facts on Brain in Pandora, and yes, Pandora supports podcast. And Jimmy, do you want to say anything else on the podcasting front, or do you want to say anything else about closing out this interview? Now the show is yours.
Okay. Is it promo time, or am I doing
It
social
is,
media link or just podcasting in
it is
general?
promo. It is promo time, and then I'm going to ask you what would be your closing thoughts.
Okay. So as Wynn was saying, podcasting definitely prevalent right now, as even our video services are overloading the internet. So audio only is totally in. So if you're thinking about starting a podcast, I would urge you to do so. If you're trying to find me on the internet, I am on Twitter at the Jimmy Murray. I am on Instagram at A Wild Jimmy Appeared. And I just launched a TikTok video. I think it's the only one I'm ever going to do. But that one's at Mr. Penguin 42. And I just want to say this has been an amazing experience to me. You really are a beacon of light in dark times, Wynn. And thank you for leading us through this.
Well, you're welcome, you guys. And how I found out about, people don't know this about you, Jimmy. You're a song producer, and how I found out about you, Jimmy, is straight after Podfest. Izzy James, I think that's Izzy's last name, Izzy Jerome. Sorry, James is the dad. James
Yeah.
Jerome and Izzy Jerome were at Podfest. And for those of you that don't know Izzy, follow Izzy and go find Izzy. Go find James on Facebook, and you'll see that Izzy's only 90 years old. Thank you very much. And I do have a 90-year-old fan. I was actually on her podcast, the Kids Perspective podcast on a form of Podfest. And so Jimmy actually wrote a song for Izzy to sing, and Izzy got a huge response. And the song is Just Hit Record. Thank you very much. A podcaster's song here. And so I go and search for Jimmy on Facebook. Thank you, Izzy, for making me go search for another podcasting fan. And so, Izzy, I give you Jimmy to listen to because I give you all Jimmy to listen to because you're the one that said thank you, Jimmy, for producing the song. And so go follow Izzy, go follow James, go follow Jimmy, and then we'll all have a grand old time. And so, yeah, go follow everyone, and let's make it a beacon of hope, you guys, in these trying times. And stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and please, 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 please. I know that it's hard with social distancing right now, but for those of you that are not in shelter in place mode, please go check on the disabled and the elderly because I doubt that these counties all across the country are checking in on them. And for those who don't have loved ones right now, please be the neighbors and go check in on them and make sure that they're staying sane and they're not getting depressed due to social isolation. And I'm learning all these new terms as we go along, you guys. But I'll catch you guys next week, and then we'll have more fun with some new baseline questions, and then we'll see you guys next week. Thanks to you guys.
You just listened to Ask Win, the podcast. To become a guest in the show, visit our website at askwin.weebly.com or call 816-591-3399. Just look for Danielle. Connect with Win on Twitter at WinKellyCharles and like our Facebook page at Butterflies of Wisdom. You can also purchase Win's book through Amazon.com or get a copy of the audiobook through Audible. Ask Win, the podcast.